In this section, we will look into how to set up a standard lighting in a scene. We already have these models with materials on it. Now let's take a look at the light. At the light object here, you will be able to choose any light that you want. We go for Omni light, and if you take a look at the light, it will always appear in the center of the scene. I just move it to the back. And if we are going to work on 3-point lights, this will be the key light. Now I just click, and this is the key light. And to duplicate the lights, I can hold down Ctrl, drag, and I have the fill light. I just move my fill light to the left-hand side, and I can move it down, move it up. By having the 4 panels, it's easier for me to control the light. Okay, so for the fill light, I need to reduce the intensity slightly. So while selecting the lights, you will be able to see the attributes at the bottom here. And you can change the colors, you can change the intensity, or even you can change the type over here. And you can add shadow. So right now, I just reduce it to 70%, not too bright. And I hold down Ctrl and drag again. And this will be my backlight. So I just move my light to the back. Now the backlight, maybe I reduce to 50. My backlight, I don't want it to affect my plane because if not, you'll see that there's a patch over at the back. So I select my backlight, and at the project here, I'll see exclude, just drag my plane to the bottom. Now it won't get affected. So now I need to go back to my main scene, and I can render it and take a preview. And by now we need to go into render settings. So we need to make sure that the renderer is standard. And the anti-aliasing, you can change to geometry, you can change to best as well. Geometry meaning that the quality will be slightly lower and the render time will be faster. For best, the render time will be higher. Of course, the quality will be higher. So let's go to output and make sure this is the width and height that you are looking for and resolution that you are looking for. And that's it. The others, you don't really need to check unless you want to export it. But for now, we just make sure that our output size is correct and the renderer is standard. So now, and of course, here is current frame, meaning that we just render wherever our playhead is. Now, let's take a look. Just click on this render to picture viewer. So this in 100%, this is how it looks like. And we are lacking of something, which is the shadow. Now we can just add to the key light, and in the key light, I can go back to general and I change to shadow. And there are a few types of shadow. Let's take a look at soft shadow. So if we create a soft shadow when we render, you will be able to see that there's these shadows, but it's very soft and it created some lines at the background. This is because that our band here, we have a lot of segments. So let's go into the shadow and take a look at the second shadow and take a look what ray trace shadow is. Now ray trace shadow is a shadow that is very hard. Now let's take a look what is area. Just render. So for area shadow is the mixture of ray trace, which is the hard shadow, and the soft shadow. So at here, you'll see that soft shadow is started from the object, it's already soft. And hard shadow is everything will be harsh. And area shadow is the shadow that's closer to the object. It will be sharper. And wherever further it is, it will be blurrier. So that's the difference between soft shadow, hard shadow, and area shadow. Let's get back to soft shadow. I can get into the shadow here. Now, because when I render this, I can see that there are some lines over here which I don't really need that. This is because our shadow map is very small. And let's try to higher it up and let's see how it goes. So now we have a harder shadow here. And if we have a higher resolution of the shadow map, we have a better or a more accurate shadow we get. So let's hit higher, 1250. 50. Now you see this is what you will get. So I think I kind of like the shadow. If you want to make the shadow softer, you can always go to the color and reduce the color or change the shadow color. Or here you can just push to 60% and you will get a softer shadow. So if you feel that the whole environment is still very flat, you can go in and just move this to the side. Okay, move it closer to them. And have the fill light further apart or maybe at the side. So sometimes because of the light, you will feel everything is very flat. So now I think it looks better because you have the differentiation of here. Now with this happening, you will also realize that maybe I move the key light to upper so that everything looks brighter. Yep, I think looks better right now. But right now it still looks a bit empty because the object seems like still floating on the shadow. So let's head back into settings, and here we need to add an effect called ambient occlusion. So ambient occlusion will give a soft shadow in between the object's edge. So let's render again, and you will see that right now it looks better because they give a soft shadow in between the object and the flooring. Now let's take a look. This is without and this is with. You will see that it looks more realistic. So it calculates the distance in between the object and give them a soft shadows. So this is how we light up a scene with a standard lighting.